Hello, this is Patrick Horvath, the creator behind Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, and you are listening to the Oblivion Bar Podcast.
Welcome to the Oblivion Bar Podcast with your host, Chris Hacker and Aaron Knowles.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 172 of the Oblivion Bar Podcast. I'm your warlock in training, looking for the passage down the witch's road, Chris Hacker. And joining me is a tarot card expert and Ralph Boner's brother from another mother, my co-host and BFF, Aaron Knowles.
Down the road, down the witch's road. Blood and tears and bone, mother maiden crow.
Jesus. Hey, those pipes weren't ready, Aaron. What are they?
No, we're not.
I don't know if I want to edit that out or if I want to keep that in. I feel like
Just
that's kind of perfect.
Leave it in. Old. Leave it in. Fuck it.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
Welcome back, everybody, to episode 172 of the Oblivion Bar Podcast. This week on the show, we're discussing the newest spoopy Marvel Studios Disney Plus series, Agatha All Along.
You like how I changed that in the transcript?
Yes, everyone, I had spooky originally, and Aaron changed it to spoopy. He's so mischievous. A lot of people are talking about it online. Some people think we're back. Some people think the same old MCU that we've been seeing for the last 2 years. We'll discuss it here in just a moment during our series review, but this is the first episode, like I guess you could say like normal episode that we've done in like 5 months.
This show, we'll get into it, but
This show, you mean Agatha?
Agatha.
Yeah.
All along. We waited a long time for this. We waited
Some people would say too long, right? Like some people say that we might have missed the boat a little bit with Agatha, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like when WandaVision came out, they were so surprised by how popular Agatha was that they're like, "Oh shit, we need to make a series. Hold on,
fuck it, we'll do it live.
We'll do it live. Fuck it." But we'll get into Agatha here in just a bit. Before that, though, we're going to talk about some news that happened over the last couple of weeks, and then of course, Aaron, if folks want to support the Oblivion Bar Podcast, how do they do that?
Well, Chris, I'll tell you how.
Do they go down the witch's road?
No, because
is there trials?
That will not end well. No, you don't have to go down a witch's road to support the Oblivion Bar Podcast. Just consider an easier path, which is over to patreon.com/Oblivion Bar Pod. That's the road that you can take, or the URL.
The road less traveled, as they say.
The road. No, I mean it's fairly traveled.
It's like decently traveled.
It's decently traveled. We have a good crew of patrons. You know, so for your support, you can get access to bonus episodes each week called The Grid, and if you want, you can just
I was just echoing. I said bonus. Bonus. That's something I want to do from now on. When one of us says bonus, I want you to say bonus.
Boner.
Ralph Boner.
So last week, or this week, recently, we released episode 140 of the Grid, which is our unformatted, unfiltered. It's our Oblivion Bar Pod after dark. It is the Grid. It is what you get. It is the bonus episode for joining the Patreon. Okay, so every 10 episodes we release an episode on the main feed, so you guys can check that out for free, and everybody can kind of get a little. They can dip a toe.
Wait, do you say for free?
Well, it's on the normal feed, so they can dip into the Patreon.
I know. I was trying to set you up to boast that it's for free right now. So let me try again. Hold on. Wait, Aaron, this newest episode of The Grid, it's free? You said it was free?
Yes, it's for free.
For free?
Free. And you also get a behind the scenes look at how we prepare each episode with looks into our episode transcripts, Patreon polls, and a bunch of other exclusive goodies. One thing I can say that we love to do here on the Oblivion Bar Pod is we love to send out free shit.
Mm-hmm.
We love it. We know I love free stuff. That's right, Chris.
For free.
Anyways, you give it a shot with a 7-day free trial at patreon.com/Oblivion Bar Pod, or just check out the link in the show notes.
That's right, everybody. Go check it out in the show notes. Let's go ahead and get into our news and notes.
News and notes.
Aaron, you were chuckling there when we were playing the drop. What was going on? What was happening? What was going on in your brain?
I'm just thinking about the show so far. It just sometimes the show like just it to us it may sound like a shit show.
Yeah.
But it's still like it's so unapologetically us all the time.
Yeah, that's true. I think we're finally meeting in the middle. For a long time, I was the one wanting to go, Aaron, stick to the script, man.
Yeah.
Come on. We gotta go by the bullet points. And then you're like, no, let's just have fun. But now I feel like we're like kind of melding into one where we can fuck around for a bit and then find our way back to the path. We find our way back to the witch's road.
Yeah, we're rubbing each other off. I mean, rubbing off on each
Moving
other.
Moving on. Keanu Reeves did extensive research on Shadow for Sonic 3 to create a faithful version of the character.
Do you think he was like a method actor? Like, do you think he dressed up like a hedgehog for a couple of weeks?
3 foot tall. I am a black hedgehog with red hair and
a
gloves.
bad attitude.
I'm a hedgehog with attitude. All right. When talking about Reeves' performance as Shadow, director Jeff Fowler said he would give us so many different versions of line readings. Fowler went on to talk about the actor's dedication to the role, saying he really wanted to create a very fan-faithful version of the character. He did the research. In our first meeting, he very clearly had gone and done his homework, which was awesome. I cannot say enough wonderful things about Keanu and what he brought to the character and the experience of making this movie. I think people are really, really going to love this version of Shadow. Now, Aaron, I am not as super knowledgeable about Shadow. We are going to get into a little bit of his backstory here in just a moment. I'll give that out. But I'm just curious, from your perspective, what do you know about Shadow? What do you know about the Sonic universe? And how much does Keanu really need to dive into to understand this character?
To be fair, when it comes to Shadow, like I don't know a lot other than he's like Negasonic.
Scott.
So he's kind of like a bad version of Sonic, and you know, he's just kind of like a badass. Like, you know, he doesn't just run fast. I don't even know if he can run fast. I know he's got like gadgets like a board and like cool shoes and like a motorcycle.
He can obviously teleport, according to the trailer.
According to the trailer, we'll see. Yeah. I'm excited to see what he does.
Yeah, it's sort of similar, honestly. The info that I have on Sonic is all very surface level. It's all stuff that I've seen like from posters and obviously this trailer. So let's get into a little info here on Shadow. So created over 50 years ago by Professor Gerald Robotnik as part of Project Shadow on board the Space Colony Ark, Shadow was conceived to achieve immortality and was infused with the DNA of an alien Black Arms. As the ultimate life form, he possesses several innate talents, including agelessness and formidable combat skills. After his birth, he formed a deep bond with Maria, Gerald's granddaughter. However, the Guardian Units of Nations, aka GUN, deemed Shadow a threat and raided the Ark, resulting in the capture of Shadow and Gerald and Maria's death. Ooh. Driven to madness, Gerald brainwashed Shadow and to seek world destruction before freezing him in stasis, only to be freed by Gerald's grandson, Ivo Eggman Robotnik. Now, first premiering in Sonic Adventures 2 on the Sega Dreamcast, Shadow is the arch rival of Sonic the Hedgehog, whom he resembles and shares many abilities. So I'm assuming he is fast based on this. He is also kind of loosely based on Todd McFarlane's Spawn character from back in the day. His trademark attack is Chaos Control, which allows him to warp time-space with the Chaos Emerald. So I'm guessing that's what we're seeing in the trailer, is him able to take that Chaos Emerald and use that to basically instant transmission like Goku in Dragon Ball. So
I'm gonna so from now on, I'm just going to call him Sponic.
Sponic. Okay, and then obviously Sonic the Hedgehog 3 will premiere in theaters and here in just a couple months on December 20th. Aaron, gauge your excitement with Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
Like a 6.
A 6 out of 10.
Like a warm 6, a cool 7.
Okay, all right. I'm at like probably like a 6 or a 7 myself. Again, we've covered, actually, it's funny, this is like one of the only trilogies that we've covered every movie thus far. Yeah. I think we covered the first one near the beginning of the show's inception. Yeah. And obviously we covered the second one, and we'll be covering the third one. I think it's the second to last episode of this year. And as you said before, Jim Carrey is like the best part of this movie. But I think even outside of Jim Carrey, these are just like really fun, sort of basic cable, all families are welcome type of fun action films. Sort of turn your brain off and have a good time film, right?
I think it's, it's got that nostalgia So you can hear like when they grab the rings, and it's like the sound effects. And, yeah, it's like you enjoy it. It's fun. It's huh?
Oh, so that was Mario. What you just did there?
No, there's like whatever. Sorry, I can't make the casino sound. Whatever fucking music.
Can I tell you? Okay, so one of the most stressful sounds to this day, I'm 33 years old, is the underwater about to drown music from Sonic. And then he just like kind of floats up and dies. Yeah, relatively excited for this movie. Not overly excited, of course, but that's cool. You know, Keanu being in this movie. Now we have, so we have Ben Schwartz as Sonic, right? Mm-hmm. We have Idris Elba as Knuckles. Who is Tails, by the way? Do we know who? What? What are you laughing at? Knuckles? Sorry, everyone. That is something that only Aaron and I find funny, is when you say the word knuckles like that. Knuckles. Anyway, who plays Tails? Do we know off the top of our heads? I'll look it up if you want to talk about.
I am looking it up.
You're looking it up? Okay.
Yeah.
But now we have Keanu Reeves' Shadow. I think this franchise, this has like some real staying power. Like this has like Fast and Furious. Let's just keep building blocks on top of this franchise type of staying power. They can just keep making these forever.
Colleen O'Shaughnessy?
I don't know who that is. Okay. All right. Well, moving on. We're excited about Shadow being in this universe, but to be honest, Aaron and I, they have our money anyway. We would see this regardless. So.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of movies that could be good, could not be good, Aaron, why don't you go into our next bit of news?
Sure. Knuckles.
Knuckles.
All right, so we got some news about the live-action Gundam movie, okay? So via Deadline, Legendary Pictures, and Bandai Namco Filmworks are moving forward with their live-action adaptation of Gundam, with Sweet Tooth showrunner Jim Mickle coming on to write and direct. Mickle is also currently developing Donny Cates and Jeff Shaw's 2017 comic series God Country, which I just recently read not too long ago, Chris, and I know you read it a while ago. It's pretty badass, but it's being developed into a TV series for Netflix. The film is looking to start production in early 2025, which I'm excited about because I've been waiting for a live action Gundam for a long time. Mobile Suit Gundam is a mecha anime series, in case you didn't know, and you've been living under a rock for the last 40, 50 years, that debuted in 1979. So actually longer than 40 years ago. It's like 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Set in a futuristic era called the Universal Century, the story takes place during a brutal conflict between the Earth Federation and Principality of Zeon, a space colony that seeks independence from Earth's oppressive rule. Now, Chris, if you're not familiar, like there are a lot of different ways that the story of Gundam has been told. You know, you have the was it G Gundam tournament, which was like the, like Golden Finger, which was like a flaming hand, which I never understood anyway. It must have been a translation thing. But then you have like the multiple Mobile Suit Gundam shows and films, which are all really good. But it's basically based on the fact that there's like these young kids that are capable of piloting these like much more capable like mecha robots other than normal people. Yeah. And it's, I mean, I don't know, they're super bad. Like Death Scythe, the one. Do you know much about Gundam?
I don't, honestly. Yeah, I'm glad you asked, because it's one of those things that, of course, both of us are kids of the Toonami era, but It seemed like I just never really latched on to Gundam for whatever reason. Like, I think I would stick around for Dragon Ball Z, and honestly, like even Sailor Moon would be on sometimes, and some Pokemon, of course. But like, yeah, for some reason, Gundam was one that as soon as it came on, it was just a little too dry for me at the time. But I want to go back.
Gundam is you'll probably enjoy it more now. I'm gonna tell you, I was kind of the same way when I really first started seeing. If it wasn't for the fact that it was giant robots fucking each other up, like I again, I told you, I've said this in the past. Giant mecha, give me anything giant mecha, especially Toonami. Like Big O was one of my favorite. I don't know if you remember Big O. It was like very steampunk, very retro. That one was awesome. But you're right, mecha. So Gundam has always been very political. It's been very people that they control the space, like the different zones of space, and the moon and Earth, and controls pretty much the resources. And then it's all about, again, who has political control over what area. And it's just, I don't know. It's always been a little bit dry for me. But as I get older, it seems to make a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
It kind of sounds like an allegory too for like modern, nationalism, right? Like
Very much so.
In America, we are sort of told, especially if you're from like a small community. I was born in a small town in Indiana, flyover town where you just raise a family and that's it. And everyone in your circle tells you join the military. It's a good way to, defend freedom. It's an honorable, selfless thing to do. And you realize that, and this is not me or Aaron trying to badmouth the military. We both obviously served, Aaron much longer than I, but it's one of those things where you realize that when you get in, the idea of what the military is far different from actually being in the military, right?
Yeah, there's the perception, the ideology of it, and kind of, again, the patriotism / nationalism that goes behind it. And a very much accurate way of putting it, because there's a lot, again, this show is very much about, as you grow up, figuring out where your loyalties lie. Is it to the people that fight to your left and right? Mm-hmm. Is it to, because that's the thing, like, country to planet to, I mean, at the end of the day, these are humans fighting humans, and all they're doing is fighting over territory, which again is such an interesting way to look at it. Plus, you have all these kids who are they all pilot these different guns. You have heavy arms, which is like this, very heavy cannon, like cannons for arms, like shoots rockets, all this stuff. You have Gundam Scythe, which obviously he has like a big ass laser scythe. You got Gundam 01, which is the one that you see that is pretty much the most popular. And there's a ton of
Ready Player One.
Yeah, there's a ton of other ones, and it's like they have to fight each other at certain times, and it's interesting in that concept. It's such an adult concept that's like placed on the shoulders of kids,
Yeah.
So let's move on, if you don't mind.
Real quick, one more thing before we move on here. What were your thoughts? Obviously, you're a big fan of Ready Player One, the book, and then when the movie came out, what were your thoughts whenever we saw that sort of, I guess, CGI, but sort of live action ish version of Gundam? What were your thoughts when you saw that? Because even as someone who's not really attached to that show, still seeing Gundam in that way was so cool.
I mean, the Ready Player One, the film was very much fan service for just about everybody, and they changed a lot from because I believe in the book that was actually a different character. I think it was Ultraman. I believe that one of the players who got that ability from a tournament, so to speak, was able to use that, and so I could be wrong. I'll have to go back and look into it. I don't believe that it was the Gundam robot, but it's still really cool to see it in there. To be honest, because I like the book so much, there was a lot of stuff that was in the movie that kind of felt a little betrayful.
Yeah, they had to change some things because of like ownership and copyrights and all those things.
Well, ownership, and also kind of they had to modernize it for people, like for kids now who saw it, because again, a lot of the stuff was for 80s and 90s babies and people who grew up in their prime in those eras and really recognized a lot of those properties. So they had to change it to make sure that kids these days who were watching it were like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Harley Quinn is not in the book, everybody.
Yes.
Harley Quinn and the Joker.
Well, next up on the news docket, a new trailer for Star Wars Skeleton Crew was released. Chris and I just watched that, and very much still continues the same feeling of Goonies, very 80s, very synthy, very, very Oblivion Bar.
Yeah. Can I, really quick before you get into this, can I ask you, what did you think? Like, just sort of base thoughts when you were watching this trailer. Like, I have my thoughts. I'm just curious, what were your thoughts while watching it?
My immediate thoughts are, I have never been as excited for a Star Wars property.
Dude. Virtual high five. I am so excited for this. This looks really good.
Honestly, like there's two things right now, Star Wars, that would get three things that would get me excited. That would be Rosario Dawson.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian.
Sure.
And Skeleton Crew. So the Skeleton Crew follows the journey of four kids who make a mysterious discovery on their seemingly safe home planet, then get lost in a strange and dangerous galaxy, crossing paths with the likes of Jad Nawud, the mysterious character played by Jude Law. The series was created by John Watts of the MCU Spider-Man trilogy, and it also stars Ravi Cabot-Conyers, Kiriani Crater, Robert Timothy Smith, Jude Law, and Ryan Kiera Armstrong. Nick Frost also stars in the series as a droid. Episodes will be directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, the Daniels, David Lowery, and Lee Isaac Chung. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni will executive produce the series, and the Skeleton Crew will be released on Disney Plus on December 3rd with a 2-episode premiere, which I'm really, really excited about because I've been really digging this whole thing, and we'll talk about that actually later in this episode when we start getting into Agatha, with the 2-episode premieres and this 2-episode finales. But yeah, just to echo what we said a second ago, Chris, super excited for this. Just the vibes alone, from the music, from the attitudes, from the kids who are starring in it. It just looks like a fun adventure story. Did you ever see? I want to say it was called Endor, like the Ewoks movie,
the straight to DVD or straight to VHS movies back in the day. No,
Yeah.
I'm familiar with them, but I never watched them. No.
So there's that. Back when I was a kid, there was one called not Flight of the Navigator. That's a completely different
Love that
one.
movie.
It's hold on, you keep talking. I got to look up this movie.
But yeah, while you're looking it up, I will say that this, to echo everything you're saying, this looks awesome. We're definitely going to cover this on the show, everybody. And it actually, I don't know if it's known or not. I'm sure it is. John Watts, again, director of all the Spider-Man movies in the MCU, he actually released himself or sort of denied the opportunity to direct the Fantastic Four movie in the MCU to do Skeleton Crew over at Star Wars. So he clearly has a lot of passion for this, and I think it's very evident. Again, trailers can be misleading. Anything can be good and bad, but this, honestly, I love the energy. Everything about this just looks like good Star Wars.
So there's a movie. The movie I was talking about was a movie from 1985, and I need you to check out the trailer later for this. And everybody listening, I need you to go check it out. The movie's called Explorers.
Okay.
All right. And Explorers is about these 3 kids who, for some reason, start having the same dream. And they're imagining like these circuit boards, and they're imagining these parts. And basically it leads them, they're not friends, to become friends, and they build their own spaceship in their homemade lab, like in their garage. And then they actually fly it into space to, like, because they're just getting these like dreams, and it's just like pulling them towards this adventure. And so like that's what it reminds me of. It's a very cool, very fun story. And I highly recommend checking that one out. And just
That
going back
stars,
to
Ethan Hawke.
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
cool.
And it's just like, again, it's another one of those ones that this has the same like Goonies-esque going an adventure like feeling to it, and I'm enjoying it. I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think again, I'm just really pumped about this. I did not watch Andor. I have not watched Ahsoka. I did not watch the one that everyone was really mad about for like 6 weeks. What was the one? What was that called?
Oh, Acolyte. The Acolyte.
Acolyte. Didn't watch that one,
I
guys.
haven't seen that.
And Aaron, I'm out right now. I'm out on Star Wars in like a very passive way, not like in an aggressive, like incel, I hate women way, but just like an I can't be bothered by Star Wars right now.
Yeah, it's a low priority. There's just not a lot that draws me to it, but this is one thing that can bring me back to it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this could be it. And, obviously we have the Mandalorian movie coming out next year as well. So this, along with that, I'm excited to see where we're going to be going with Star Wars. And I think I've heard rumors, because I think we just had Star Wars Celebration last month. We might get an announcement for a new trilogy coming into 2025. So
No shit.
like it won't come out in 2025, but we'll get the announcement in 2025. So I'd imagine it'll come out in like late 26, early 27. So, all right, everybody. Well, that'll do it for our news and notes. Let's get spoopy over here with Agatha All Along. Aaron's going to get his pipes ready for that one. He's be doing a lot of singing. So let's go ahead and get into that. Let's go ahead and get into our series review of Agatha All Along.
Main topic.
All right, everybody. We are here to talk about Agatha All Along. Again, spoilers ahead. If you have not watched is it 8 episodes or 9 episodes of Agatha All Along? 8 episodes. No, it's 9.
Where's it 9?
It's 9.
9.
It is 9.
Yeah, we
episodes.
realized it at the same time.
9.
It is 9.
9 episodes. If you have not seen all 9 episodes, please stop this.
9. Sorry.
And we're really close to the election right now. Don't do that.
Ooh.
Someone's going to hear you and they're going to think that you support the wrong guy. Anyway, everybody, spoilers ahead. So,
Definitely
Aaron,
not.
initial thoughts on Agatha All Along. Again, this is the 11th television series in the MCU, so they should have figured it out by now. What are your thoughts?
Eh.
All right. So just kind of meh.
Yeah, I'm okay. It's like, I watched it.
Yeah. Was it more good than bad? Or was it just kind of unoffensively nothing?
It was unoffensively like okay.
Sure.
It was I don't know. I don't really know how to really okay, so I'm just gonna say this. It was unoffensively okay. It was unabashedly mediocre. It was fine.
Okay. How did you watch it? Did you watch it weekly? Did you watch it just
Yeah.
you sort of binge it all, or?
I watched it weekly. This was not one that I wanted to binge because I actually enjoyed watching it episodically. I was excited. I was actually, I'll be honest, there was a level of excitement for the day of when they were releasing. It was, just pretty much 2 days ago when they released the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I was excited. I was like sitting there. I'm like, what time is it coming out? I will say that I did look up the time that they did, upload them, and I was ready for it to start, and I was ready to hit play. But that was mostly because I am a completionist and I need resolution, and that's what I needed to do. But I think that's about it. That's like the most really of the excitement that I got.
That was actually going to be my next question. Was you mentioned, and we talked about it actually. I think it was on the grid. We mentioned that it was coming out with the 2-episode finale. Again, you said it earlier, 2-episode premiere and then 2-episode finale. Love that format. You sort of get best of both worlds with sort of the binge aspect and also the weekly sort of excitement level, the water cooler aspect of it all. But I'm curious, do you think that your meh sort of reaction to this series is because the finale, the final 2 episodes, didn't sort of bring it home for you?
Oh, it was an overall feeling, because I can't say that like every time. I mean, I just can't say that every time I watched an episode, which was again like really what seven
every Wednesday.
incidences?
Yeah,
I can't say that like when it was ready to be watched, it was ready to be watched. I wasn't in a hurry to necessarily watch it. The only reason I was excited to watch the finale was because I wanted it to be resolved. One thing that you and I talked about, and I believe we talked about it on the grid as well, is that there's just nothing about any of these characters that I am needing to know more about, that I'm wanting. The only real association and connection that I have to these characters is I love Catherine Hahn.
Yeah.
And
she's
Patty
great in this
LuPone
series. Yep.
is great. And I think, and honestly, I think the only other person that I was really forming like a hope for, a connection for, was Sashir Zamata's character, Jennifer, Jen Kale.
Yeah.
Just because I felt like there was so much more. Like, I don't think that these shows are, and I know we can get into this later. I'm sorry for jumping ahead. I just don't think that these shows are really focusing and highlighting the characters that they should be focusing on.
Would you have felt any different about this series had Wanda showed up at some point in the series?
No, I don't give a crap about Elizabeth Olsen.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I honestly, again, we talked about it the other day. I'll just sort of repeat it because I feel like even after the finale, and it was a decent finale. Yeah. Like I enjoyed it. I think we got the same old purple light versus the blue light versus the red light, as we often do with these Marvel films and TV series. It's often just big lights shooting at each other while they make faces at each other.
Yeah.
But I guess the reason why I feel so indifferent about this series is because it's so far removed from the rest of the MCU. We don't get any mention of any characters outside of Wanda, Vision, and Mephisto. Everybody else is it's a witch that they're all extremely, like, we're not even talking C-list characters. We're talking like D- characters in the Marvel universe, like in the comics.
I mean, we get mention of Sword, but that's like one time.
Right. But it's a lot of folks that you get sort of in passing. And I think that really was a big bummer for me. Part of the fun of the MCU, I think, is sort of the connectability. The old saying back after phase 1, after the original Avengers movie was, it's all connected, right? Like that was the cool thing about the Marvel universe.
It's all connected, man.
It's all connected. And I feel like part of the reason why the MCU is sort of losing its allure is not only the somewhat quality dip in certain installments, but also it's the stretching of all of these characters. Like we could sort of form bonds with 20 to 30 characters. Now we're meeting 8 to 10 characters in every installment of every MCU movie and television series. And it's just becoming so much to where we don't get enough time with these characters to enjoy them. Right? Like they're already talking about how they're going to introduce we're getting this weird tangent here, but they're already talking about introducing Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom in the Fantastic Four movie in the post-credit scene, not in the movie. And then he's going to be the bad guy in the next Avengers movie, which is the next movie after Fantastic Four. Like, how are we supposed to care about Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom? Like, of course we care about RDJ, the actor, because he's Tony Stark. But like, this is not the same character. Why the fuck do we care about this Dr. Doom? And this is the problem with the MCU.
I'm going to write down a question, and at the end of this discussion, I'm going to ask this question. I don't want you to look ahead. but I'm going to write this down.
All right. Well, while you write that down, I'm going to go ahead and give a synopsis here of the series. Okay. So when a new series of tragedies strike the city of Westview, the infamous Agatha Harkness finds herself down and out of power when a suspicious goth teen helps break her free.
It's not a phase, Mom.
It's not a phase. You're right. You're right. I hate my father. Her interest is piqued when he begs to take him on the legendary Witch's Road, a magical gauntlet of trials that, if survived, rewards a witch with what they are missing. Together, Agatha and this mysterious teen pull together a desperate coven, set off down the Witch's Road. So, this is, again, as we mentioned, the 11th series in the MCU, guys. The 11th television series in the MCU on Disney+. Aaron, off the top of your head and without looking at the link that I posted in the transcript, how many of those 11 TV shows have you wholeheartedly, unabashedly enjoyed on a level that you often enjoy MCU things? Think back to the good times, Aaron, to the Falcon and Winter Soldiers of the world, the Guardians of the Galaxies, the Avengers movies. Which TV series do you enjoy on like a more than meh level?
Yeah, none of them. I honestly can't think of a single one of them that I
Loki season 2.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna look.
I knew there was one. Aaron's, sorry, I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up.
Fuck it.
So I'm not gonna look it up, and I will say that it's probably like four TV series that I've like wholeheartedly, without much, if any, complaints, I've like truly loved.
I mean, I've watched WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier. Loki.
Let's play a game real quick. Let's play a game. I'm gonna go down the line, and you give me what's our old rating system?
Or bomb or
bomb or fart. We'll say that. Bomb or fart. All right.
Those are both bad.
No. Bomb. We'll say like bomb, like it's a good, like a good bomb. How about Bing? Bing or bomb?
Bing or bong. Okay.
Bing or bong. Okay. So WandaVision.
Bing.
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Bing.
Loki, season 1.
Bing.
So you already got 3, Aaron. Yeah. What if season 1?
Bong.
Hawkeye.
Bong.
Moon Knight.
Bong.
Ms. Marvel.
Bong.
She-Hulk.
As much as I love her, bong.
Okay. Secret Invasion.
Fucking
bong,
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 man.
bong, bong.
Fucking bong, 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 bong. Does this thing work?
Bomb. I can't say bomb on a plane.
Yeah.
Loki, season 2.
Bing.
What if season 2?
It's not even out yet. Oh yeah, it is out. It is out. Bong.
See, I don't even remember when What If season 2 was released.
Yeah,
I still haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. Echo, you said bong?
Bong.
Okay. And then Agatha all along.
Bong.
All right. And I think mine would be, I'm just going to go down the line without saying all of them.
All right, here we go. WandaVision.
Bing.
Falcon Winter Soldier.
Bong.
Loki.
Bing.
What If?
Bong.
Hockey.
Bing.
Moon Knight.
Bong.
Ms. Marvel.
Bong.
She-Hulk twerks.
Bong.
Secret Invasion.
Super bong.
Loki.
Bing.
What If season 2?
Bong. I haven't seen it.
Echo.
Bong.
Agatha all along.
Ah, man. Again, I'm kind of with you. It's like kind of just I'm so in the middle.
Yeah, it's again, that's the thing. It's so in the middle.
Yeah, which is bad, by the way, everybody. Just so everyone at home, the fact that this universe has gotten to the point now where average is the common denominator is bad, right? Like, I would rather something be terrible so we can destroy it on the show, or something be really good so we can like highlight it and celebrate it.
Yeah,
but it's so unoffensively nothing that it makes it boring to talk about. So we have to go bing bong the whole time. We're just gonna be bing bonging this whole time.
You know, it's like eating just like the most unseasoned like piece of chicken.
Yes.
Because it's unseasoned. Like, you know, normally you love chicken. Normally you fucking love chicken. But it's like, this is like so just like nothing. It's like I'm chewing cardboard. It's like, this is like, you put time into this?
I will say that like this TV series was made with love. You could tell like they put more into this than I think most of the other TV series.
Yeah. And that's another thing that's disappointing about it is because the amount of details, the amount of care, the amount of like, I'm just going to say this. Let me ask you how you feel about this. Okay. If this was not Agatha, or let's say Agatha had not been in Multiverse of Madness.
She wasn't. She was in WandaVision.
I mean, I'm sorry, WandaVision. I mean, had not been in WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Would you care about this show? Like if it had been its own thing? No,
because okay. I don't care about it, and I already know Agatha, and I like Agatha. Like you said, I love Catherine Hahn as the character, but she didn't, I guess we got a little context with sort of why she is the way she is, which I do appreciate. But like, I don't think that could have been a 2-episode arc in the next, whatever, WandaVision season 2 or the Vision series or the Scarlet Witch movie that they're secretly planning. Like, this all could have been elsewhere. We did not need 9 episodes of this to detail all this. All right, let's get into it. Let's talk about it, Aaron, and see if we sort of change our mind
Okay.
here. So this takes place in phase 5 of the MCU. Okay.
Mhm.
Agatha All Along is set in 2026. So this is 3 years after the events of WandaVision.
Again, doesn't make sense because everything else we've been watching is current.
Right.
Doesn't make any fucking sense.
Well, even in 2020, remember this came out when 2020 happened, all the movies were shifted forward because of the events of Endgame, because we went into the future in Endgame. The blip caused everything to go forward. So we're still like, we're almost caught up. We're like almost to present day. I'm just wondering when that's going to happen. And as part of a clever marketing tactic, Marvel announced several titles for the series and then would quickly delete them. So they would post something on social media and then they would delete it within a second. And everyone would be like, haha, Marvel, we caught you. You know, some people have like their notifications on from when Marvel posts things and whatnot. But it was all part of this, like, honestly, really clever marketing tactic, which so the titles included, these are fake titles that was called House of Harkness, Coven of Chaos, Darkhold Diaries, and The Lying Witch with a Great Wardrobe. So, and eventually, of course, it became Agatha All Along. And this is, speaking of sort of timeline stuff, this is the first Marvel Studios project since Echo to be set on Earth 616, which is still confusing. I agree with Iman Vellani, who's Ms. Marvel. It's so stupid that we call the MCU 616 because the Marvel Comics universe is 616. Why can't we just make the MCU something else? Call it 617. I don't give a fuck. Like, 616 should be its own thing. It should be the Marvel universe, the comics, right? Anyway. This is the second one. So the 2 other projects that have been released have been X-Men 97 and Deadpool and Wolverine. They were both, and those were in Earth 92131 and Earth 10005.
All right, so showrunners for Agatha All Along, Jack Schaefer co-wrote Captain Marvel, co-wrote Black Widow, created and wrote WandaVision.
There's a common denominator there, Aaron. I'm not going to say it. Everybody.
Just
but
moving on to the cast.
Moving on to the next cast. Yeah, let's get to the important part of the cast.
Yes.
I guess let me say one thing. Okay, I think Jack Schaefer has a pretty good voice for like this corner of the Marvel universe. I liked WandaVision. I liked it more than this for sure. But I think all the best parts of this show come from like some things that she built in WandaVision. So moving on to the cast.
Moving on. Cast: Kathryn Hahn as Agatha Harkness, Joe Locke as William Kaplan or Billy Maximoff / Wiccan, Aubrey Plaza as Death or Rio Vidal, which is obviously Life River, Deborah Jo Rupp as Sharon Davis, Sashir Zamata as Jennifer Jen Kale, Ali Ahn as Alice Wu Gulliver, Patty Lapone as Lilia Calderu, and Evan Peters as Ralph Boner.
He's back, everybody.
The boner's back. Boner Man
boy's
69.
back. Yep. You mentioned before we started recording it, I just want to sort of get it here live on the show. You mentioned that you went and saw some Broadway here recently, and Patty LaPoe was actually starring in one of those plays.
Yes. So the movie is actually, the Broadway show is called The Roommate, and without saying too much, not my favorite. Didn't really have the best. Is
somewhat of a theater snob. Everybody, he's our theater subject matter expert.
I like the Broadway.
I like it when the people dance and sing.
I like it when they dance for me, dance monkey. It was awesome to see her like in person, especially seeing her in this show, and then like the day after I watch the finale, I see her on Broadway. So it was pretty cool to see that. I wanted to ask you, Chris. I'm not going to go into that too much. Do you have like a favorite, like anybody that really stood out to you during the show?
Well, I think the obvious is Kathryn Hahn, of course. She's incredible as
other than Kathryn Hahn.
Yeah, we'll just say broadly, Agatha Harkness, great character. Kathryn Hahn, no one can play that character but Kathryn Hahn, and she's great as that character. It was cool to see Aubrey Plaza, but they didn't use her very often in this show, and it was just very sparingly. Aaron, I think you'll probably talk about that here in a bit. To be honest, I didn't really attach myself to anyone else in the Coven. And they all kind of got their time to shine. But I think that sort of plays into the idea that I didn't care. I didn't care about any of these other side characters. I think the effort was there to give them a little backstory and to sort of build some depth, but then they all end up dead outside of the one. Jen, I think, is the one that survives.
Mm-hmm.
So I think really the only person that I can attach to, and I think they did a pretty decent job with his character arc, is Wiccan or Billy or William or whoever he is in this time. So I liked his inclusion. I said this on the grid, and I'll say it again here. I really loved at the end of episode 5.
Wait, stop! Why are you, what is, Team, stop! I let go!
You should see me in the crowd.
That he's Wiccan, everybody. Oh my God, who would have thought? Who knew that he was going to end up being Billy Maximoff? Wow.
The sigil literally looked like a W.
Exactly. But I will say, I'm being facetious. I do love that ending of episode 5 where it has that, I think it's Billie Eilish, and he like has the what do you call that? Like
the tiara looking
tiara.
like the
looks like
almost
Wanda's
the crown. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, like spoiler alert, there's this scene. I want to say it's at the end of 7 or at the end of 8. Anyways, there's this scene where we see like the reemergence of Billy Maximoff as like a full-fledged Wiccan, and I thought that was just like a great scene. Like he had such a good entrance and such a good outfit. So that was really a cool scene to watch. Honestly, I think again, other than Catherine Hahn as being the standout showrunner, she's just a phenomenal actor. Sashir Zamata, as I said earlier, Jen Kale just stood out to me like so well as just so genuine in her role. And there's moments where she's afraid, there's moments where she's sarcastic, and I think that she just has great acting range. And I really enjoyed seeing her on the screen. And honestly, like oddly enough, I felt more of an excitement for her to get her powers back because I just expected so much of that. And I was, I don't know. That her character to me like stood out more than several of the others. And it's not because she was the only survivor. I just think because it just felt like she had so much more to give to the show than everybody else.
I'm sure we'll see her again at some point down the road.
Yeah.
Down the witch's road. Go ahead.
It's a good one. So the character of Agatha Harkness was created by Stan Lee, Jack Kirby for the Fantastic Four, making her debut in issue 94, released in October 1969. Agatha is an ally of Marvel's first family and was the nanny to Franklin Richards. Chris, you're going to tell us a little bit more in a second about Franklin Richards, right?
No, I mean, Franklin Richards is a character that is considered by many to be one of the strongest characters in the Marvel Universe. And it's just interesting that Agatha was sort of with him at a young age, right? So does Agatha have something to do with the fact that Franklin is maybe one of the strongest beings in the 616 universe? I don't know. But continuing on there, Aaron, it's interesting that, traditionally in Marvel history, Harkness is presented as sort of like a morally ambiguous figure, which I guess we sort of see in the TV series a little bit. Like she does, I think even in WandaVision, you can tell that she has like a little good in her. Like she wants to do some things that are good, but she sort of is fighting against her human nature and her witchiness, and we sort of see the other side of that during this series.
Yeah. And I mentioned that I had a question earlier. I'm going to keep putting that off because it's going to
bury the lead.
It's it has a trend. It directly leads to that as well.
Sure.
Because I don't think that she was necessarily presented as best as she should have been during this show.
Agatha, you're talking about.
Agatha, I mean, yes. So,
yeah, okay. All right.
This is the second television series based on a Marvel comic in which Aubrey Plaza has played someone who did not originate from the comic books. Previously, she was Lenny Busker in Legion, which I didn't watch. I did not watch Legion. I wanted to. I never got around to it. That was an FX show, I believe.
Yep. Are you familiar with the character of Legion?
I slightly. I think like Legion is somebody who has like dissociative personality disorder, and all the different personalities have like different powers, I think.
Yeah, so he's one of the sons of Charles Xavier, and every time that he goes into a new personality, he has a different power, and he can't control it. So every time that he switches, one could be he could change grass to sand, and the next one could be like blows up the universe with the blink of the eye. Like you never know with him. So it's a pretty interesting character. I do want to go back at some point and watch that because I heard good things.
Joe Locke worked with the movement coach Elizabeth Olsen, trained with for her previous MCU appearances as Wanda Maximoff to get better, associated with the movements of the character.
Doing a lot of these things, like
a lot of hand motions, like
you guys can't see it. Aaron and I are doing little hand motions.
We're doing
in the camera.
We're
doing
very
it.
sexy.
We're conjuring things.
We're changing reality.
That's right.
So we meet Agatha's son, Nicholas Scratch, in the final episode. Little long-haired hippie boy.
Can't fucking sing. He steals that bell, that little bastard.
No wonder he died.
I'm glad he's dead. I'm glad
he's dead with a voice like that. Created by Len Wein and George Perez in Fantastic Four number 185 in August of 1977, Scratch is a warlock and the father of Salem 7 with several mothers.
So all of the Salem 7 are his daughters that he's sort of built this team to take on Agatha.
That's gross. He turns Salem's residents against Agatha, but is defeated and banished to the Dark Realm after the Fantastic Four confront him. Scratch generally works for Dormammu.
I've come to bargain
in the comics.
Aaron, you've been sort of bearing the lead here with this question. I have a question for you. And it is, are we back?
No.
I'm going to ask this for every MCU property going forward. Are we back?
No.
Were we back? So we weren't recording during this, but were we back with Deadpool and Wolverine?
Yes.
We were so back, right?
We were totally back.
But we're no longer back.
No.
We're gone. We're not back.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, the masses don't agree with us. We're sort of against the grain here because not that we really give a fuck about what Rotten Tomatoes says, but according to Rotten Tomatoes, the series holds an 83% approval rating in the review aggregator on Rotten Tomatoes based on 177 critic reviews with an average rating of 7.15 out of 10. The website's critics consensus reads, "The marvelous Kathryn Hahn is backed up by a coven of memorable performances in the MCU spinoff that refreshingly concocts its own distinct brew." I agree with that, actually.
177 critic reviews, 83% approval rating, 7.15 out of 10.
Yep.
I don't know about you, Chris.
That math ain't mathin'.
That math ain't fucking mathing for me, bro.
Yeah,
and I'll agree also.
Yeah.
I'll agree also. Kathryn Hahn, again, fantastic. Just a powerhouse on the screen, a powerhouse as Agatha from naked butt cheeks all the way till
First
season
butt cheeks
finale.
in the MCU.
First female butt cheeks. I think she got an award for that. She got presented a plaque for that, by the way.
Yeah.
I will say, there were memorable performers, but again, everything is 95% of this show is forgettable.
Yeah. This will be sort of lost in the weeds of all the things. Aaron, can you talk a little bit about, so we keep getting this tease, right, throughout the series of course, without Tommy, there's no Billy, right? And without any Billy, there's no Tommy. We saw both of them in WandaVision, and we are now, for some reason, we're Tommy-less right now. So where is Tommy? And actually, talk a little bit about how they teased him in the show.
My Tommy hurts.
Tommy,
what's During their final trial, Billy sees visions of an anonymous young boy who's drowning after a prank gone wrong. I'll say this scene in the final trial was honestly the best moment of the whole show. I think everybody had to really, again, the three in the room were the ones who really had an impact on this show. It was Jennifer Kale, it was Agatha Harkness, and it was Billy Maximoff. Again, those three really were the most impactful. But anyways, so Billy sees visions of an anonymous young boy who's drowning after a prank goes wrong. Presumably, this is a dying boy who Tommy's lost soul can inhabit after reincarnation, as Billy Maximoff did with William Kaplan. The thought terrifies Billy. He thinks he may be responsible for this boy's death. Boys die, though, as Agatha somberly admits. In WandaVision, the boy wears blue and white shoes like Tommy's Halloween costume from WandaVision, emulating his uncle Pietro Quicksilver. The shoe also has the letter S etched into the side, possibly representing his last name Shepard or Speed, Tommy Maximoff's alter ego. This boy could be Billy's brother Tommy.
Could be reaching. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't surprise me, honestly. If they weren't planning that, they easily could make it into that now that fans are already talking about it. So, that happens quite often. I'm thinking in Iron Man 2, when that little boy wearing the Iron Man mask puts his hand up and then Iron Man comes up behind him and shoots one of the droids. That was said for a long time that was supposed to be Peter Parker. And then one day Tom Holland was like, yeah, that's Spider-Man. when he's a kid, whatever.
Yeah.
You know. So I want to talk a little bit about basing off what you were just talking about there with a storyline called The Children's Crusade. Now, this was a the Young Avengers and Avengers event from back in 2010. In the comics, Billy and Tommy find each other before setting off to find Wanda Scarlet Witch. In 2010's Avengers, The Children's Crusade, created by Alan Heinberg and Jim Chung. In that story, Wanda goes missing. Along with the Young Avengers and the mainline Avengers team, Billy and Tommy team up to find their mother. The person behind it all, Aaron, spoilers, Doctor Doom. Again, if Billy and Agatha are off to find Tommy, then yes, this could mean that we're inching closer to Maximoff family reunion, and possibly this could happen during the Scarlet Witch solo movie.
I just feel like Doctor Doom's like the Bowser of like the Marvel universe. He's just like randomly kidnapping and trying to marry people.
All right, Aaron, you had a question. Before we close out this review, what was your question that you had for us here?
I'm going to preface this with a little bit of the story that we saw during this season.
Okay.
During the last couple episodes, we see the fact that the Witch's Road is not actually real.
Correct.
Were you shocked?
No. I wasn't shocked. I was a little bummed, I'll be honest. I kind of wish it was real, but the fact that Agatha was just making it up made too much sense, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Second, we see that the reason behind her creating the Witch's Road was in order to trick other witches to create a quick coven so that she could steal their powers, which is Agatha all along.
Everybody, it was Agatha all along. Who would have thought?
So my question is, we see her doing this time and time and time
Multiple
again.
decades.
Multiple generations, like just constantly.
Just fucking witches up for years and years.
Real quick, why did Agatha need all that power?
Yeah.
She never fucking used it. She didn't need it to stay alive because other witches who weren't doing it had been alive for hundreds of years as well.
That was going to be my answer. I thought it was to stay young-ish.
That's why I'm calling it out right now, because the other witches didn't do that.
Yeah.
Patti LuPone's character didn't do it. She'd been around, and we saw her character all the way back in like early Spain.
Yeah.
Jennifer Kale, her character had been around for hundreds of years as well. So like she didn't need it. And also to in spite of the fact that she had absorbed all this power that she didn't really use, she just kept getting knocked on her ass time and time again. So why did she need all the power? And why was she just killable?
We do see Agatha. She's often sort of revered as this like maniacal, ultra powerful being, but we don't see that ever, right?
No.
Like even in WandaVision, the veil is lifted pretty quickly by Wanda, right? Like it's mostly Wanda creating the illusion for herself. It really has little to nothing to do with Agatha and it's almost like she's just sort of playing in the sandbox that Wanda created. And even in this, again, it was all accidentally created by Billy. So I agree. I don't really know what they're doing with all of that. And we'll never know at this point because now Agatha is a ghost. So,
which is another stupid fucking thing in my opinion. Sorry. I would say like the ending overall, if there was a semblance of what I enjoyed from the show, the ending kind of took a shit on it.
Sure. Well,
and that's
sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and that's just because like the whole ghost aspect, the fact that she absorbed it all. And I understand, people are going to be like, well, she lost all of her power to Wanda Maximoff when she like took it. Understandable. But still, she got knocked on her ass by a fucking brand new witch who didn't know how to use her powers. And then also she took a bunch of powers from several other witches during the trial. And at the end of the day, she's still like, I don't know. It just didn't work out for me. And then we've already kind of talked about it slightly, but the Aubrey Plaza as Death/Rio. Death is I don't know, it's an ancient cosmic power, or should be something like that. Should be like an entity. Should be something like, what was it, Eternity?
Yeah.
Like Death should be right up there with Eternity. But instead we get this Aubrey Plaza, like 5'7", bad joke making, like sarcastic, not even great outfits, like witch. And I'm just like, what is happening?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I think one of the biggest bummers of this series is sort of Aubrey Plaza's inclusion. And she's great in it when she's in it, but I didn't love what Jack Schaefer and crew had for her in the series. Because I agree with you. She should be like living tribunal, maybe bigger than that level of like power, cosmic power. We didn't even get to see that in the final thing. And again, I guess if I wanted to play devil's advocate and I really wanted to reach, part of the reason why Agatha was defeated at the end is because, and she even says it in the series earlier, she's like, if I was to absorb all of Death's power, I would be killed instantly. And she tries to do that and she dies. So it sort of did what she said she was going to do. But there were rumors at one point that Thanos was going to show up at one point to like converse with Death for a bit. I kind of wish that would have happened. I know that's wishful thinking and total fanboy isms, but God, that would have been cool. It would just in that connection, you know, or even like Deadpool, like an end credit scene
just a walk by, like just like a you know, walking down the street or seeing something like, you know, like not now, like, or like a call on a cell phone or something.
Yeah, like she's like doing like some kind of like terrestrial meeting with someone bigger, and then they go, "Oh, sorry, I have to do this real quick. Bye."
See you later,
Eternity
T.
and whatever.
Talk to you later, T.
Yeah, see you later, TT. That's my Mad Titan over there. All right, we've sort of talked ourselves in circles in this thing. Final thoughts on Agatha All Along.
I am disappointed.
Okay. None of this conversation really. I'm not mad at you. I'm just disappointed.
Just disappointed.
Okay. This conversation didn't help at all?
Not really.
Okay. Did it make it worse?
Maybe a little.
I knew it was going to be one of those.
Possibly.
Yeah. I
What
agree.
about you?
I mean, it's just one of those, like, I'm not going to think about this show in 2 weeks. Like, this is going to leave the zeitgeist of culture. And I'm going to not think about it until they announce like either a Scarlet Witch movie or Wiccan or someone else shows up in the MCU at some point, you know? And again, I think we've said it plenty. I'll say it one last time. Love Catherine Hahn as this character, and I want to see her continue on in the MCU, but I do not think that she needed this TV series. I think they saw the quick, you know, popularity surge with Agatha All Along, and that was a banger in WandaVision. But this should have been made in 2021. Like if they thought that this character deserved her own series, it should have been a direct sequel to WandaVision. Like it should have went WandaVision, Falcon and Winter Soldier, then Agatha All Along. But we didn't get that.
Agree.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and rate this thing out of 5 David A. Weiners. Aaron, of course, David A. Weiner. We just had him on the show last week. He was on talking about his latest In Search of Darkness 90 through 94. You had a great conversation with him. What are you going to give the 11th spoopy MCU Disney Plus series, Agatha All Along?
I'm going harsh on this one. I'm sorry. I'm feeling it. I'm going a 2.
2. Oh, man. Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, I think we've sort of talked about it like ad nauseum at this point about how this is so in the middle. Like this series is so not bad and not good at the same time. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 2.5. I think it's just right there. Like it's split down the middle, which as we've talked about previously, 2.5 is like, I think the sort of the end point with my recommendation. I think 3 is where I recommend things. 2.5 is like, hey, do your thing, whatever you want to do. You know,
watch it if you want, but it's not something that you need to make time for.
Right.
Yeah. 2.5 feels good on the whole, but
it does feel
but
good
I like
on the whole.
Yes, 2 feels good for me.
I would love some chocolate ice cream.
Finally have a working tractor beam, which we shall call Preparation H.
What? Why don't you just call it Operation Ass Cream, you ass?
I'm sorry, did you want some ice cream?
Yes, I'd love some chocolate ass cream.
Perhaps later.
All right, everybody, we're getting out of this conversation about Agatha All Along. Let's get into a segment that I've been missing for quite a while. I haven't heard anything from this corner in about 6 to 7 months now. And it's right next to the Witch's Road. It's called Aaron's Arcade.
It's time for Aaron's Arcade.
Welcome to Aaron's Arcade, which is the 7th trial on the Witch's Road. You never make it there because you probably ran out of
It's
quarters.
just a level of Frogger.
Aaron's Arcades, where I talk about video games, what I'm playing, what I'm reading, what I'm watching for a couple of minutes, and then I don't care if you agree.
I don't even care if you like it.
I don't even care if you like it.
This is my arcade.
Yeah. Get out. This week, a new game just released. I want to say 2 days ago, roughly. It's called Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket. So, Pokemon TCGP, basically. TCGP.
Yeah. TCGP.
Trading Card Pocket. Trading Card.
Aaron,
Game
you want to hop on
Pocket.
that TCGP?
Yeah, get on that P. So this game is actually, I think that this is the best decision that Pokemon has made in a long time for a mobile game. Now, Sleep was okay. It was fun. There's some other games that have come out. Obviously, Pokemon Go itself was a really fun game that a lot of people are still playing, which is awesome. But if you are an age-old, an ageless fan of the Pokemon trading card game, this game is a ton of fun. It's on iOS, it's on Android devices, and it's just, if you've ever played the trading card game, whether it was on the Game Boy, in real life, or on your computer, you will understand how this game plays and how much fun it is. It has a very nostalgic vibe to it. And one of the things that's really fun about it is the fact that it's not really connected to any of your other Pokemon card game accounts. So you don't just automatically get all those overpowered cards that you get. This game is very much, if I can make a comparison, there is, when you play Pokemon in the trading card game, they have what's called a pre-release. So before a set comes out in physical cards, they bring people in. You can pay like $30, $25-$30. You get like a little pack that has like 4 packs, some energies, and some trainers. And you basically build like a 20 card deck, roughly 20 to 30 cards, usually in a pre-release format. These are, in this game, in Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, you're building 20 card decks of no energies, of just like cards that you've collected by opening packs. And you get to open 2 packs a day for free, which is really fun. It very much, again, has that same feel of opening a real card pack, because you can flip them around. You can do you can open them from the back and look at them like upside down, or it's just like you have your choice. And then when you open them, they go into your collection, and you can get the alternative art cards. You can get the, full art cards. You can get shinies. There's a lot to do in this game, and it's really fun because there's a very, very fun collectability feeling in this game. But also, again, going back to those 20 card decks, you're playing a 20 card deck game with 3 prizes. And it's just, again, like 60-second, 2-minute card games. I think the longest I've played is maybe 3 or 4 minutes for a card game. Maybe
like
19.
TCG Lite, kind of.
Yeah, it's like a TCG Lite. It's just a really fun format of this card game. And for younger players, for newer players, be careful. There are microtransactions, but you don't need to do them because you get cards for free, and when you win, you get stuff as well for free. Highly recommend this game. It's really fun. Again, like I said, if you like the trading card game, if you want just quick format, fun pocket-sized TCG games, Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket is for you.
Yeah. Aaron and I have been playing it back and forth the last couple of days, and it's been a lot of fun. I will say my only, like, a very minor complaint is that I wish they would just keep track of your online record and things like that. Like, I wish it had just a little bit more features, but it is totally like Trading Card Lite. Like, if you just want to get that quick Pokemon Trading Card Game fix, this game is for you.
Yeah, you can sit down while your car's getting an oil change, like I did today, and play a couple of matches. They are, again, this is the first version that's been released. They're going to be doing updates. They're going to be doing additions. They're going to be doing, like events within the card game. Like, there's an event going around right now with Chansey and Meowth cards, which is really fun. And again, they're going to release more stuff. You can also do interesting enough, you can actually go into that menu. You can do a survey and add in and tell them the things that you want to see. So if you wanted to see that, that's the fun thing about playing a brand new game, is you can actually put in things like that and have them. Now, I've had my ass stomped a few times at people who have obviously spent a lot of money on this game already. So it's really interesting to see those people coming through and playing a beginner match with like a full blown, like again, remember when we would play the card game and people have like the max rarity cards?
Oh yeah.
Decks. I got stomped by somebody who had like a max rarity Mewtwo. I didn't even know there was like solid gold, like Mewtwo cards. Guy stomped my ass. Probably was 8 years old. Anyways, great fun game. Again, you can get it on iOS, Android. They are not a sponsor, but this is something that Chris and I constantly enjoy when it comes to Pokemon, is this trading card game. And also, anytime that it's free and we can share cards and send them back and forth over text, it's a fun time.
For free.
Anyways, saying that, let's go into my favorite and most missed segment of this show, and that's Chris's Corner.
It's time for Chris's Corner.
Aaron sort of sounded like Christopher Walken there. This is my favorite segment of the show.
I'd like to see the Muad'Dib. I couldn't think of the word segment.
Muad'Dib.
The spice flows.
All right, everybody. We're going to talk about Spectrum this week for Chris's Corner. Spectrum #1, written by Rick Quinn, illustrated by Dave Chisholm. Now, Aaron, we got an advanced reader copy from Mad Cave. Shout out to Mad Cave for sending us over an early copy of issue 1. First issue comes out on November 20th. So as you're listening to this, obviously, if it's Chris's Corner, that means I liked it. So this has the Chris approval. If you see this on your the shelf of your local comic book shop, pick it up. But the reason why I wanted to highlight this was for 2 reasons. Number one, shout out to Brad Gullickson of the Comic Book Couples Counseling for putting this on my radar. He randomly texted me one night and said, have you checked out Spectrum #1 from Dave Chisholm? They've had him on the show. Dave Chisholm wrote and drew the most recent Miles Davis sort of bio comic. And I was like, no, I hadn't heard of it. And he's just go check it out. Ask Mad Cave for a copy. They'll send you one. And it is awesome, everybody. I cannot boast enough about this single issue. This has best comic of 2024 written all over it. I think at the end of the year, this will be in strong contention during our last call awards. So let me read you a synopsis really quick, Aaron, and for everybody listening here. Melody Parker is losing her mind. She's living on the streets of Seattle during a WTO protest in 1999. She is seeing things. Androids, aliens, pigs in high fashion, a creature named Echo, one of the sustained elemental beings with the power to alter reality through music. She invites Melody to join her as she brings about the end of the world. As Melody tries to escape this strange woman, suppressed memories from across vast spans of space flood into her awareness, bring her very identity into question. You don't want to miss this stunning new release from writer Rick Quinn and music comic specialist Dave Chisholm. Again, he wrote and drew the Miles Davis and the Search for Sound book over at Z2 Comics. So cannot recommend this book enough. Again, only issue 1. I've only read issue 1, but if it's anything like the first issue, the rest of the series, I'm going to enjoy this book a lot. There's a lot to chew on. It's one of those books that I think you have to read more than once to fully appreciate it. And it has my highest recommendation, everybody.
It sounds amazing. I need to actually jump on that one as well.
Yeah. All right, everybody. That'll do it for Chris's Corner. And that will do it for episode 172 of the Oblivion Bar podcast. Aaron, we have reached the end of The Witch's Road. The final trial has been completed. And I just want to say that now I'm trying to think of a quote from Agatha. I'm trying to think of something mean to say to you now here at the end, but I can't think of anything.
That's about the best way to kind of sum up the show. It's just there's nothing really memorable about it.
Cannot think of one thing to say about it.
Cannot think of a single. A movie is good when you can quote it, right?
Right.
A show is good when you can quote it.
Muad'Dib.
Muad'Dib. The spice flows.
Arrakis
is mine. You're not gonna steal. Does your mother sew?
Get her to sew that.
Get her to sew that.
No, the tone's all wrong.
Catwoman Batman is Bruce Wayne.
We just went Dune to Joe Dirt to Batman Forever, just back to back to back.
But that's the thing. Again, that's how something is good because you can remember those quotes. There is not a fucking thing that I can honestly.
It was Batman Returns. Sorry. Anyway, continue on.
I cannot think of a single line other than "Down the Witch's Road" from Agatha.
Yeah.
Give me a quote. Quote any part of the show right now. Give me one quote.
Aaron, I don't know. That's why I couldn't think of anything.
Okay. Proof. That's proof. Two whiners. All right. Anyways, subscribe to our podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Audible, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. That's where we are. Thank you to our patrons, Alex, Alice, Aaron, Botter, Brad, Chris S, Chris Y, Chrissy, David, Ellett, George, Gianni, Greg, Haley M6, JKH, Jeremy, Kenny, Kyle, Lozy, Mac, Miles, Mike, Olivia, Ryan, Robert, Travis, Zach, and Brad and Lisa. If you want to support the show without spending a single penny, a follow on your preferred podcasting platform and a 5-star rating and or review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify helps the show more than you can even imagine. Follow us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Threads at Oblivion Bar Pod. Brand new official merch for the show is on our website, oblivionbarpodcast.com. I guess I could say at Oblivion Bar Podcast. Anyways, if you get some of our gear, do not be afraid to send us a picture. We would love to see you in some swag, in some fashion, some high podcast fashion. All right. Thank you, KXD Studios, for all of our Oblivion Bar art. He's at KXD Graphics on Instagram. Tell him that the Oblivion Bar Boys sent you and nothing will happen. Thank you, Dream Kid, for all of our musical themes. Thank you, DJ Skyvac, for our grid theme. And last but not least, do not forget to tip your bartenders 20% or more. I went to a restaurant today and had some amazing ramen. I tipped them way more than 20% because you know what? The experience was amazing.
You did the right
And
thing,
they
Aaron.
deserved it. They deserved it.
More than 20%. Everybody, next week, we're going to be talking about a good TV show. Next week, we're talking about The Penguin. The final episode airs this Sunday. Aaron, I'm so excited to talk about it with you. I know you haven't seen any of it or much of it. Have you seen any of it yet?
None.
Okay, so you're going to binge it. You're going to love it. I'm going to bet right now, everybody, if you stuck around this long into episode 172, mark my words, Aaron will give The Penguin higher than a 3.5. That's my bold prediction for next week. So thank you all so much for listening to episode 172 of the Oblivion Bar podcast. We will see you down the Witch's Road. But until next time, bye-bye.